Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Vagrus, the Riven Realms. We're picking up right where we left off, where we're being taken prisoner by the Bandul of the slums in Kabur. So we're gonna see where this goes now. The Bandul surround you and begin to escort you to the west, out of the slums and up to some of the terraces on the mountainside. The walk soon turns into a climb as you pass the first hills and go up and up into the mountains. Buildings soon become sparse and the streets give way to pathways among the craggy, rocky terrain. You keep asking your Bandul captors where you are going, but they stay mum on the matter. Eventually, the woman who talked to you initially says that they are taking you up to the valleys, as the locals call it. The inhabited pass around Kabur, then the company falls silent, and you have to keep climbing, becoming more and more exhausted with each step. You keep climbing until the blood turns to acid in your veins. The valley turns out to be fairly impressive. Once one gets high enough on the mountainside, the view becomes astounding. Kabur is laid out below, often under a thin blanket of low clouds like a bejeweled carpet. The sun setting behind the brown mountains peaks already. Many lights of the city have turned its darkening expanse into a field of strange fireflies. Around you, the valleys stretch in all directions, much like a maze of tunnels, except that these are open to the skies. Here and there, one can find small buildings, huts, granaries, or farms, but the most prominent landmarks are the huge wall paintings on the sheer rock faces. The image of the sun and birds are most common, and then you enter the higher ravines and begin to see the strange tombs with stone slabs sealing their low entrances, as well as cairns placed at intersections and near ancestral shrines. A few moments later, you begin to hear the droning singing. You're escorted down a snaking ravine into a small rocky plateau under one of the lower mountain peaks. Your captors stay behind, but they usher you forward. Once you step out onto the open space, you see two groups of people as well as a lone figure standing at the edge of the cliff. The first group closest to you are singers, Bandul, all of them switching between a moaning solemn song and a guttural angry verse. This is clearly a dirge, and upon seeing what the other group is doing, it begins to make sense. You've been brought to a funeral, and a very peculiar one at that. The second group of Bandul are wearing white robes, bloodied by the butchery they are performing, bending over a fresh corpse. They are cutting it up with curved daggers and sickles into small pieces. They are then tossed onto a large flat stone blackened by congealed blood. Just then, a large bird of prey swoops onto the gory remains and gobbles down a mouthful before taking up to the sky again. Another one follows its example, and now you see dozens of the creatures circling the plateau. This way, they are closer to son Ahar. You notice that the lone figure who has spoke is walking closer to you and is glaring at you. Ask him who he is. My name matters not, he says in a deep voice. What matters is what I fight for. The man is tall and thin, wearing an orange mantle over white robes that reach down to his ankles. He is clean-shaven, including his head, which bears an exquisite tattoo of the sun on top of his dome. His coal black eyes examine you with a curious interest. He is barefoot and appears to be unarmed. You tell him that he is ahari, to which he smiles. You are this. Perceptive. There's a bit of an edge to his compliment, but then you must know about us already. How we had to take a mantle of war against the Imperials who came here and began to bleed our people dry, who kept taking everything that was not theirs. Isn't Imperial history a lesson about greed and oppression? And now they're digging up our most sacred sites, our oases, to get their hands on their precious black gold. In our place, you would also be fighting back. You ponder this, but he soon goes on. Bandul are a peaceful people, but the sun shall not tolerate such insolence against all that is sacred and good. He pauses briefly and then points at your satchel. Your relic, the one that allows you to cross over. Do you have it with you? Ask how he knows about the astrolabe. The sun sees everything, the ahari says matter-of-factly, and it has shown me the truth of your device. Fret not, I merely wish to gaze upon it. You produce the astrolabe and hold it up for him to see. He observes it for a few moments. So it is true, he finally speaks. Only you can work its magic, although the one who created it might have intended otherwise, but that's true for most of the things he did. A knowing smile spreads across the ahari's face. He does not elaborate further. I'll be forward. We really need your help in these dark times to come. I know that the Tarkians have already tried to persuade you to aid their treacherous ally, the Legate, but should you know that the sun has shown on another path for you, one that is far more beneficial. You ask him how would they as allies be more beneficial for you? The Imperials will not be grateful in the end, but they do not need to be. For us, it's a matter of survival. We are depending on our homeland, our families. Defending our homeland, I should say. For them, he almost spits out the word, profit. He sighs and then looks you in the eye. Look, we know you are an enterprising individual. We would never ask your help merely for our cause. We can make this worth your while the Imperials are beaten back. Once the Imperials are beaten back. But whichever side you choose, know that we will win our war against our foe in the end. Should you choose to assist them, where can they be found? Once our brother is laid to rest here, we will return to the desert, the Ahari says. Our fight calls, and that is where we can disappear to if we so wish. There are precious few of us now, you see, and the Imperials are never too far behind. So you can understand why we are hesitant to put our trust in a stranger, even if they are as special as you are. Where you won't find us, at least not as a rule, is this accursed city. Save perhaps some of our friends. You'll run into my fellow Ahari in the desert, though. I'm certain of it. Make sure when you do, you end up aiding them against our enemies. Should you do so, you'll hear from me, but you'll have to be patient. Ahar's rewards come to those who wait and persevere. He turns away but adds, Go to our oases, our sacred places. Look for ways to obstruct and hinder the legate's people, and thus we shall meet again when the time is right. He begins to walk away. While the sky burial is being concluded, the Bandul who brought you here tell you that it is time to leave. Exhausted and deep in your thoughts, you do not argue and accompany them down the mountainside, which is much easier going than the ascent was, at least. But the time you reach the city proper, the sun has set and you feel you should collapse into the gutter and sleep for several days. The Bandul take their leave soon and you cross the city and trudge to the Manzio at last. But then the stars blanket the night sky and the air has cooled down significantly. Your crew greets you with relief. They thought something foul had happened to you. You sit down with a nice beverage and some wholesome food. The most prominent members of your comitatus join you to hear you out, going into as much detail as you feel comfortable with. You outline what happened at the palace and the valleys. Naturally, every one of your comis has their own angle, but they all know in the end the decision to get involved and with whom to ally is yours and yours alone. First and foremost, you will have to find your way back to Kadath once more, and in the meantime, the city in the Bronze Desert seem ripe with opportunities. At least on that, there seems to be an accord. After your supper, however, you elect to go to your room and turn in for the night because you are utterly exhausted. You fall asleep almost instantly. What a long day! Gained an insight. Holy cow. We are in the Manzio. How are we doing? 9499. Okay, we're great there. We have movement, so let's send our dudes out to do work. Get out there. Do your job. Yeah. I think that's fine. End day. Ooh. Oh! Neat! It's like a day-night image. You can't zoom in on the night one, but still very cool. Called the Jewel of the North, Kabur was built by the Tarkians long centuries ago, and since then, its ascension to one of the greatest cities in the north has been unstoppable. These days, it is a center of commerce, diplomacy, and cultural exchange, with people from all over Zerreen living inside its walled confines, including the peculiar city-dwelling Bandul. Kabur's crowded district straddled the unified mouth of a dozen wide valleys that descend off the shoulder of the Fadul-Dak Mountains, and so one might climb to the high ravines where the dead are entombed in crypts carved out of the barren rock. Below, Kabur's streets snake between markets, palaces, gardens, bathhouses, and shops. Here, true power is vested with the rich, just the way the Hanjari like it. Very cool. All right, well, we've reached the Bronze Desert. It's up here, right? Yeah, very cool. So Kabur is on the far west. Venari's oil field, the stone gates out here, the Renaris oil field. The road goes very far east, past Fort Erebus, all the way to Tot. I wonder if you can reach Tot. Or maybe you're not allowed to go past Fort Erebus. Because it looks like this is it's 12 to 16 days away, but this one's not even listed. But perhaps. Be interesting if you tried to cross the Forlorn Waste and go back to Devon, but I bet it doesn't let you. But it would be quite the journey, huh? Alrighty, let's see here. Let's go explore the city. Watched over by tall towers and magnificent palaces adorned with shining onion-shaped domes of bronze, the bustling markets and busy streets of Kabur stretch out across the arid valleys at the foot of the Fadul-Dak Mountains. You can find all sorts of interesting things simply by looking around the Jewel of the North. Let's go for a walk. Exploring the long, snaking alleyways of the slums, you come upon a curious couple outside a rundown rookery. They stand at its doors looking a little worse for wear. Both are young, their features bright despite the visible exhaustion on their faces. The woman of the pair is slight and pale, but there is a radiance to her, a warmth that seems to transcend her station. Her partner is an athletic imperial with thinning chestnut hair. His eyes are weary as though he has not slept for days. "Welcome to the slums, Vagrus," the woman says warmly, canting her head to the side. "May we be of service to you? We've enough to buy passage, I reckon." She bites her lip consciously. "Well, almost." She trails off, watching for your response. You ask her how she so easily identified you as a Vagrus, where you might be of help, and where you might be able to help them travel. "A Vagrus? I can spot one a mile off, I can. I'm Aelia. This is my husband, Sergius." The man merely nods, acknowledging you with a flash of his eyebrows. "He's the strong, silent type, you can see. As you can imagine, we're a perfect match." At her words, you watch Sergius's smile broaden, and he draws his wife in, kissing her brow as a grin forms on his lips. The pair seem very much in love, despite their apparent difference in character. "We need to get to Rhadamantis, Vagrus," the woman continues after a short giggle. "Could you take us there? I know it's not exactly a road oft traveled, but we have a few curios and a handful of coin to offer you if that'll do you fine. What do you say?" she asks, in a plea in her words. You agree to take the pair to or close to Rhadamantis. Ask them what it is in particular that makes them want to travel there. A flash of wonderment temporarily lightens Aelia's pale features. "Haven't you heard? It's a holy land. It calls to us, it does. My bloody dreams. Plus, word round here is that it's a chance to escape these cockroach-infested alleys. A new start, like. And sides, we've already taken our licks out here in the slums. We have a trifling same time of it, I'll tell you that much." You ask the woman what she means. "Used to run a little shop in the market. Things were okay. Then the robberies started getting worse like. The bandul around here are a right cheeky bunch when it comes to stealing. No bloody restraint. Course then there were the taxes," she says, sighing. Sergius clears his throat, speaking as if for the first time. "We lost the business in the long and short of it, Vagrus, ever since we've been surviving on what we've not already sold." "That was when we saw him in our dreams," Aelia announced with a little too much intensity. Sergius's eyes take on a distant, almost wistful quality. "The dream walker. He sang to me, Vagrus. Bliss it was, bliss. Then he listened to my woes, to our woes. He showed us a wonderful city, bright and beautiful, like a radiant gemstone." After the woman's passionate words, you process for a moment until Sergius comes to her rescue. "I've seen it too, I swear. He's there at night when the sleep takes me, like a welcoming embrace," he says, taking his wife's hand and kissing it. She adores the gesture, and they share a gratuitous display of affection for a moment until Aelia manages to finally tear her gaze from her man and shifts it to you once more. "So will you take us, love?" You got like Cockney on me. Agree to take, why not? I don't know where this is, but here we go. "Much appreciated," Aelia beams. "And don't worry, we'll mix in just fine with your crew. You can even offer a helping hand. Spent a fair time laboring ourselves, we have." "That we have," the husband chimes in, apparently having suddenly come to life. "Ran a regular business before everything went to Tartarus. You know the story, boss." Responding in kind to the curious couple, you ask them to meet you at the Manzio, where they will find your crew and then set off with their meager possessions in tow. Weird. I wasn't expecting to get passengers. The homes of the dead, the slums, the temple quarter. There's so much going on here. The most exquisite market in the north. What do they have to sell? We got supplies. We have no animals, so we need to get some beasts. Ooh, this is kind of fun. We could swap 2 lizards in the desert. I'm curious. What is the difference? It's less supplies, a lot less supplies, but less normal movement. And I don't march a whole lot, so that's not super beneficial. But they do... Horses carry more, but the beasts of burden carry less. So it almost like it'll take more supplies to keep things going, but I kind of really like the idea of doing lizards in the desert. Just like thematically, it seems fun. Ooh, we got a lot of money for giving them news from very far away. A bridge too far, it is ripe with exotic goods. Phlegetos Bridge, cool. Where's that? Okay, right at the river, that makes sense. Rhadamantis? Somewhere? Somewhere in here? I'm not sure where I'm taking those people. Okay, so let's buy some beasts of burden. 1, 2. What does that get us? Looks like 4 per guy. So... Oops. Back to beasts. Let's buy 6 of the lizards. Or I guess it's just 5. 1, 2. And then, what do we got for... Yeah, let's do 2 more of the big lizards. 1 more of the big lizard. I'm like, I'm 1 shy of the stuff I want to buy. All right, supplies filling out. Very cheap here, so good to buy as much as you can. And what do you have a lot of? Looks like bright kelp. Some ceruleus crystal, I'm kind of surprised by that. Herbs. Mushroom beer. Lots of oil. Oil is the thing to buy here, it looks like. Maybe pottery. Wine? Ooh, lots of wine too. That's very cool. We should really see if we can fix that gate, because being able to transfer oil back and forth would be pretty cool. All right, we want to put our reinforced wagon wheels on. Cargo, extra storage, and that's probably all we can do. Yeah, very good. Any passengers? Oiled Field Renaris, Onyx Outpost, Oil Field Renaris. That's up this way. 4 to 5 days away. Maybe we do that. That's kind of a fun way to get to know the place. Let's grab these 2 groups, Oil Field Renaris people. Let's get a couple more fighters. Go for the 20 fighters. And we're good on labor. But I think some of that is the people we picked up just now. So let's get 13 there. And then let's see what missions we have. Stygios Lumber Camp, Oilfield Venari. Oops. Which is on the way, I think? Yeah, so we could go up to the Venari and then over to Renaris. So let's do that. Venari. Shoot. I just realized this one was for Renaris as well. Onyx Outpost. Here's Renaris. That's fine. Let's take that. Venari. And then... that looks like it. Should we take... I don't know what to bring, and maybe we shouldn't bring anything for that specific reason. So in that case, let's grab more supplies. It'll take us 5 days to get out there anyway, so if we can't get any supplies on the way back, we'll have enough to get out there and back. And this will kind of give us a lay of the land. So let's go out and explore the desert. We have full movement now. We have 12 normal movement just from being lizards, which is very cool. I like that. Headed to the gatehouse. You soon arrive at the gatehouse and start to pass through the checkpoint. They talk to you briefly as the Comitatus moves the gate. Do we owe any taxes? Apparently not. Maybe somebody covered our taxes for us. Alright, so we want to follow the mountains to the oil field of Venari first. So let's do that. Maybe like this. And then we'll kind of skirt along the mountains here. Full rest. Or full guarding, I should say. A young couple. It's so funny that we just like grabbed 2 random folk. Go! Are you kidding me? Buy them off? I can't fight these people now. I don't have nearly enough to be fighting all these dudes. Offer items? How much jewelry do I have to give you to... I have to give you all my simple jewelry. Honestly, that's fine. Simple jewelry is not super valuable. So, go. All right, cool. What a rough roll. 300. So we got to be careful when we're out here. That's what I'm learning. Stone Gate, that's where we were. All right. Yes. Up to the oil field. Awesome. The largest and oldest of the fields of the field of its kind, this trove of the black gold was established in the heyday of oil harvesting 2 centuries ago. House Venari was successful in securing it for themselves in no small part due to their instrumental role in attaining the obscure technology required for its exploitation. We've like jumped forward in like eras. I don't think the Roman Empire ever like harvested oil like this. This is kind of wild. The initial monopoly garnered few friends for them, but the Venari are known for thriving in cutthroat competition, and so they never seemed to mind. Visit the Venari compound. The oil field of House Venari stretches out into the vastness of the undulating dunes before you, interspersed with groups of robust oil wells and sophisticated yet antiquated machinery nodding and clunking. All of it is interconnected by miles of pipes encrusted in hardened dirt and dry oil. A greasy, mucky orchestra of engineering with the singular purpose of bringing the black gold of the desert to the surface, while this chorus is silenced by the distance and howling of the desert wind. The fortified administrative center is but a mere fraction in an area compared to an entirety of the operation. A Venari mercenary approaches you. A grumpy-looking Imperial donned in Venari armor approaches you from across the windswept plaza, squinting his eyes to avoid sand getting into them. When the bulky mercenary stands right before you, he inquires about the whereabouts of the pottery. Seeing your hesitation and taking a closer look at you and your companions, he asks if you are new around here. Upon hearing that you indeed are, he mutters something about a prefectus logistica and then beckons you to follow him. And you do. The grumpy mercenary leads you into one of the sandstone buildings, trudges up on a dusty stairwell as he chaperones you all the way to a door on the second floor. There, he tactfully knocks on the door. When a receptive reaction comes, he peeks in and announces something about a new Vagrus, by which he apparently means you. After that, he indicates that you are now free to step inside. Not wanting to waste any time with whatever this may be about, you enter. Inside, you are greeted by a middle-aged woman in a disheveled scarlet, ivory, and gold finery. She is smoking, perhaps to relieve her palpable stress, but clamps a reefer with her left hand as you enter so hard her knuckles are white. She forces a courteous smile and turns to you. "Greetings, newcomer. My name is Sentia Rosius, the prefectus logistica of Oilfield Venari. Welcome to my office. In essence, my job here is supervising the major processes as well as the minute details of oil extraction and storage," she states in an official tone, after which she exhales both in frustration and to breathe out the fumes. Then she carries on. "The operation has been facing disturbances recently, resulting in significant reduction of oil storage capacity. Right now, the oil field requires as much pottery as we can get our hands on in order to tackle our severely handicapped storage ability," she confides, and for a moment her voice wavers under the weight of her responsibility in the matter. "There is a plan in place, though. An extensive network of storage silos needs to be built to replace the old ones that have been rendered unusable. That is, however, easier said than done. Currently, I'm seeking anyone who is able to help us with that. Listen, I don't know about your standing with House Venari, and frankly, I don't care. I just need this done," she admits with a tired smile. You ask her what she meant by building the storage silos being easier said than done. She takes a long, deep drag of her reefer before carrying on. "Well, I suppose it's no secret that the Carpenters Guild is House Venari's kind associate when it comes to craftsmen. They are very good at what they do, you see. They've been tasked with building said storage facility, yet they never showed up," she states, visibly puzzled as to what the holdup may be. In case she does know something, she is not sharing it. When you push her on the details about what came of the old silos, the Prefectus Logistica takes another short drag. "Agents of the House Venari have conducted an investigation into the matter and concluded that the oil containers were irreparably damaged during an unfortunate accident while their construction was still underway," she states matter-of-factly. Then she changes her tone to a more personal one, even slightly lowering her voice. "This is not the official Venari stance on the issue, but a few believe the ahari spell weavers caused an earthquake that fractured and broke the shells of several silos. I'm unsure that I subscribe to that notion, however. A far more likely and credible explanation would be an act of industrial sabotage by a rival house, which certainly would not be the first time throughout the 2 centuries of the oil field's existence." You ask her about her own personal opinion. She hesitates momentarily, drawing smoke into her lungs. "It is my firm belief that when the silos were being built about a half a year ago, the crew that had been working here were a bunch of incompetent scoundrels who had no idea what they were doing in the first place," she states bluntly, her register now entirely bereft of professionalism. "That is why they were nowhere to be found after the accident. They tucked tail and fled with the advance payments so that they could avoid having to face the consequences." There's a certain ring of conviction in her voice that makes you think that she has solid evidence thereof, so you try to push for more. Well, I do have my own take on the matter. My job here is to solve the storage issue, she says dryly. And that brings me back to my next point, if you don't mind. You assure her that you are eagerly waiting for the point she wants to make. I've told you that I've already tasked the Carpenters Guild, an otherwise very reliable, skilled lot with state-of-the-art equipment and ability to keep tight schedules, yet they have failed to show up. Nobody really knows the reason this never occurred before, and this is where you come in, she offers, pausing for effect. If you can persuade them to stop coming up with excuses and finally come through, I would reward you with a handsome referral fee of 100 bros. Whoa! That's a lot! Failing that, any other competent group of craftsmen that show up and carry out the construction effort at a high standard will do too. I have already looked into alternatives and I can present you with other options should you be interested. She says and exhales smoke through her nostrils, fixing you with her bright blue eyes. You see no reason not to listen to her, so you indicate your interest, much to her delight. There is a man of Bandul origin called Asgar living in Kabur, who led the expansion of the sewage network of the city some 2 decades ago. His expertise is more than adequate for this job. Apart from him, I heard that the Legate has a chief architect's office at Flagados Bridge. Yearly maintenance is scheduled right around this time, in fact. It must be about to be completed. They're probably some of the best builders throughout the Bronze Desert. Considering how the Legate holds everyone in the highest standard, and woe betide whoever swindles her, she cautions and carries on after a brief silence. That said, they will probably need a little off-the-books motivation to take on the job, she adds, turning her right palm upward, rubbing her thumb and index finger and middle fingers together, indicating said motivation being explicitly financial in nature. We will accept the task. The Prefectus Logistica conveys the light at your decision. I knew it. I knew the moment we met. You seemed like a Vagrus who can get things done. As I said, Asgar, a Bandul master in Kabur, has led the expansion of the city's sewage networks about 20 summers ago. I'm confident that he has what it takes. Should you feel less than inclined to approach him, I have it on high authority that maintenance is scheduled for these weeks at the Legate's chief architect. Oh, you already told me all this. And of course, there's the usual suspects, the builder crew of the Carpenters Guild. If you are somehow able to convince them to do their damn job, she says, stressing those last words in a frustrated tone, you have your work cut out for you. Leave the office? Go back to the Comitatus. We will turn in these 2 missions that we have, and then we will continue on our way. We have a mission. We don't have great standing with the Carpenters Guild. I wish it was the Loaders Guild, but we're 44 away from even Rep 1, so we'll see. But we're gonna get on the road again. We're gonna head out towards the oil fields Renaris. We're not too far away. We did gain some rep with the Hanjari and House Venari. That's great. If we can just like boost our rep with House Venari just by being out here, I would be more than happy. End the day? Oh no! The couple is upset. Darkness falls at the other end of another day in the wasteland, with campsite chatter and rumination abounding as it might any other night. Tonight, however, is different. Most of your komis huddle around one large campfire, and you notice the woman you picked up from Kabur, Alia, pacing in front of them. She is deep in an impassioned monologue. You walk closer, and the woman's speech is soon within earshot. One who hearkens understands all your woes, he does. We seen him ourselves, a glorious being in all hearing too. In Kabur we was nothing, mocked by the Imperial, Bandul, and Tarkian alike. They saw us as little more than dirt-ridden slum rats. Now we have purpose, meaning, safety. She pronounces with fervor, and you notice that some of your crew are enthralled. They hang on her every word. She knows it, too, holding the last of her thoughts for a pregnant moment. She delivers her final line, brimming with conviction. All the things a troubled soul like yourselves could ever want, the Dreamwalker can provide. Oh, she's a evangelical. There is a silence for a time as your komis look on, some nodding, others looking askance at the pale young woman. Then one of the more skeptical members of your comitatus speaks up. That sounds like a pile of shite, lady. The kind of shite I would say. That's sold to gullible fools looking for a way out. He remarks, and an argument begins between Alia's husband Sergius and the man, and a few of your komis. Whatever this woman is selling, it would appear that some of your crew are buying it. Intervene in the argument. They then admonish the young couple. They are not to speak to your crew again about this Dreamwalker. No. None of this. You break up the argument swiftly, putting your authority to use. The man who repudiated Alia's claims about the Dreamwalker is wearing a smug grin now. The woman smarts with a starts with a conciliatory tone, apparently having realized her mistake. I'm sorry, I just thought your crew might like to know, truly. Of course, you being a Vagrus, I recognize you need him for work. I was not trying to turn him or nothing. I just reckon when folk just gotta have a full picture, like. Besides, I can feel it in my bones. Radamantis is the Holy Land, and when we get there, we're gonna... You cut Aelia off, caring not for the justifications and further ramblings that her initial apology apparently entails. Right, yeah, sorry, she exclaims, bringing her finger to her lips to imitate silence from here on out. My lips are sealed, she announces happily, flashing you a quick yet thin smile. Moving alongside her, Sergius takes her hand now, meeting your eyes at the same moment. Apologies, Vagrus. We're turning in, don't worry. It's our pilgrimage and no one else's. Aelia just gets a little excited, is all. I'm sure you understand. The young couple vacates the camp and you turn to your gathered crew, making it quite clear that there shall be no more talk of this one who hearkens. There's a great deal of work to be done, and you shall be damned to Tartarus before allowing the musings of a young couple to muddle everyone's thoughts. Soon after, you return to your bedroll in a dreamless sleep. Put an end to that, thankfully. Hopefully, I have a feeling that's not the end of it, but hopefully that's kind of put an end to it with the crew being, you know, out of sorts. Alright, we've reached Oilfield Renaris. Why am I trying to boost my speed? We drop off our workers. Were they the only people we had with us? Crew, passengers. The young couple is still here with us, obviously. Let's turn in the mission here. And then we'll look for more missions. Maybe take them back to Kabur. Yeah, that'd be cool. All right, we have a plan. We're learning about the oil fields. We'll read this next episode. If you guys enjoyed the episode, click the like button. It helps out a lot. If you want to see more Vagrus the Riven Realms as I explore the new Bronze Desert here, subscribe to the channel. That also helps me out a lot. But until next time, everybody, I hope you have a good one, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye, everybody.